Hollywood, I feel, in a way, has always had a hard time adjusting to different cultures and showcasing these different ethnicities, especially in the movies. Be it the Chinese, Japanese, or even the Desis, the representation for these ethnicities has always felt like a far fetched dream a decade ago. See, for any of us who have grown up watching Hollywood movies or TV shows in general, we know that the West has this particular idea about people who come from a certain geographical region. But in my opinion, Desis get the worst flack handed to them. No actual representation when it comes to their culture, or no real sense of identity attached to the one dimensional characters that keep popping up on our screens every now and then. It's 2024 and Hollywood is still learning how to accurately depict a normal South Asian on screen, be it a Hindu, a Muslim, a Sikh, an Indian, or even a Pakistani. But what is so hard to understand here? Why is it that in the last 2 decades or so, South Asians have always been marred to the sidelines when it comes to representation on screen? Look, I am of the firm belief that representation matters, and it matters a lot. Everyone wants to feel represented on screen, everyone wants to see themselves feel portrayed on screen, everyone wants to see themselves accurately portrayed on screen, but that's never the case. But with the conversations around media representation changing, I feel the attitudes have been too. We now see more South Asian representation in Western media, although of different degrees. But something that I've always wondered in these characters, be it Raj from The Big Bang Theory or even Kelly from The Office, why are these characters not very proud of their identity? Does representation mean that we have to disregard our past and take up the American way, or does it mean that we have to be fully ourselves, no matter how uncomfortable it gets for those who are watching? So let's just get into the thick of things and really analyze how South Asian portrayal has changed in the Western media post the 2000s, and is it for the good or for the bad? But before we do, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribing to the channel for weekly content ahead. Let's begin. In his 2017 documentary The Problem With Apu, comic Harry Kondabolu examines the long and significant cultural impact of the South Asian character Apu on the long-running TV series The Simpsons. See, Apu was one of the very first South Asian characters that ever popped up on American television, and the problem started right from the get-go. The character didn't feel authentic, it felt caricaturish and not very real. And how could it feel authentic or real? It was being voiced by a white guy to begin with. In his documentary, Harry expresses and presses on the topic, explaining that Hank Azaria's portrayal felt deeply hurtful and came across as a white guy doing an impression of a white guy making fun of my father. And so for most American viewers in the early 2000s, this became the go-to guide on how South Asians lived and existed. Apu was, however, not a South Asian. He was a figment of somebody's imagination who picked up a book on how South Asians behaved and read the first few pages and then decided to write a long-running character on a TV series based solely on that scripture. The documentary rightfully led to a global debate about the lack of authenticity about Apu as a character and the hollow writing centered around that character. Hank Azaria would later step down from voicing the character in 2020, almost 3 decades later since he first started voicing Apu. In the 2005 NBC TV series The Office, Mindy Kaling played Kelly Kapoor, an Indian descent woman working in Dunder Mifflin. Now, in the starting of the show, Kelly wasn't the most significant character, but slowly as the show began to garner a strong footing, Kelly too began appearing regularly on the show. But it was not her appearances that were the problem. The actual problem was her portrayal. This was a woman who absolutely despised her ancestry, her culture, to the point that even a mere mention would be enough for her to run out of the room. And this started to feel like a pattern for the actor who played Kelly Kapoor. Mindy Kaling became hugely successful post The Office and had her own show called The Mindy Project, which ran for 7 years on Fox. On this show, Mindy played an OBGYN version of herself, in which she's a self-absorbed, insecure Indian woman who loves white men and hates her culture. Then, Mindy created Never Have I Ever on Netflix, which follows Devi, a self-absorbed, insecure Indian teen who loves white and Asian boys and wants to disown her culture forever. And after that, she created The Sex Lives of College Girls, and one of those girls is Bella, a self-absorbed, insecure Indian young woman who loves white men and disregards her own culture. Do we see a pattern here? Yes, of course we do. But in 2023, Mindy was severely criticized for her hateful depiction of South Asians after her animated show Velma premiered on HBO Max. In the 2007 CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory, Kunal Nair played a nerdy scientist with selective mutism, Rajesh Kutrapalli, which I think was also maybe the first time an Indian character was part of an ensemble of a sitcom. Now, this wasn't just a quick in and out role, but was a fully fledged character who was a series regular for the whole tenure of the show. But much like those characters before him, Raj too was a caricature of the South Asian stereotype, openly hating and despising his own culture and blending himself in the American culture any chance he got. It wasn't that Raj had a bad and despicable life back home, but it was mentioned several times how he came from a wealthy household and enjoyed a carefree lifestyle. So why was the hate spewing in? We as the audiences are never given the reason. We are just told that he hated his life home, and when he came to America, that's when his life changed. If it wasn't the backstory that failed him, it was the show's writing that did. The show had to tackle an ensemble of characters, be it Jim Parsons, Sheldon Cooper, or Kaylee Cuoco's Penny. In their midst, Raj felt like a sideline character at best. He was never given the proper treatment of a considerable character and was always the sad and lonely type. At the end of the series, when all his friends are married or with children, he's the one left all alone with nobody to go home to. See, South Asian representation is changing in media. Things are evolving. In the last 5 years, we've had a Muslim Marvel superhero who fully embraced her faith and wasn't embarrassed of her ancestry. We have had Kumail Nanjiani, who starred in the acclaimed HBO series Silicon Valley, writing and starring in The Big Sick, a movie about his first meeting with his wife, which later also got him his first Oscar nomination. We've had Priyanka Chopra became the first brown woman to headline a network television series when she made her debut on American television in 2015. We have had Never Have I Ever, the show which depicts the life of Devi, an Indian teen living in California, ran on Netflix for 4 seasons and gaining immense critical acclaim. So maybe things are changing. Maybe there is a slow evolving process that has been put into motion, and so maybe all we can do is just sit back and watch how Hollywood changes its direction and ideology with respect to South Asian portrayal, because it's high time that the world realize that South Asians are more than just side characters or just one-dimensional individuals with no actual personalities of their own. Maybe it's time that we have characters on screen that fully embrace their faiths, their cultures, their colors, and they're not embarrassed of who they are or where they come from. With the world changing rapidly, hopefully the representation of the world and its people does too. And that's it for the video, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments below, and also don't forget to smash the like button and subscribing to the channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.